Hello. Thank you for listening to and watching You Had Options. This episode, I have Luke Bentham, I think I'm pronouncing that right, from the very good Canadian rock and roll group, the Dirty Nil. Great conversation. We talk about history, talk about guitar stuff. I say in the episode, I'm not a big, guitar gear guy. I'm trying to get better at it. But yeah, one thing that helped me get better at guitar, the threshold maximizer. Luke's custom pedal made my Bowman audio endeavors. James Bowman from the very, very good band Against Me. You can buy this. Luke said some will be out soon. Again, follow Bowman_audio_endeavors on Instagram. I'm sure they'll say when the drop is. Yeah, follow the Dirty Nil at the Dirty Nil. Go listen to Fuck Art. Their most recent album came out last year. It's great. Caesar. Say hello to Caesar. He's the best boy. He's the best boy for not ruining this episode, which he tried to. Make sure you go follow You Had Options at You Had Options on everything. You can go buy the You Had Options shirt at thehandsomescoundrels.com/shop. I should probably get a You Had Options website soon. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for being a friend. Thanks for not blaming the goalie. Yeah, enjoy. Okay, Luke, thank you for joining me.
My pleasure.
How are you today?
I'm great. Slightly overcast day here in beautiful Hamilton, Ontario, but good day to play guitar.
Yeah. You guys, did you have multiple shows this weekend? I saw you played a festival type of thing.
Yeah, so we played that a couple weekends ago, but we just got the video up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we just played once in Newfoundland, which is basically I think it's the most eastern extremity of Canadian territory. We've never been out there before, and it was awesome. I mean, I've heard a lot of stories of it being a lot of fun, and it lived up to everything. We had some wicked fish and chips. We gazed out into the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, okay.
It was great. It was awesome. Yeah. You guys play with Alexis on Fire, so
that's pretty sick.
Good day anytime you get to play with Alexis.
Is that is that one place in Canada where y'all hadn't played that you really wanted to? Are there other places like that?
For sure. I really want to go to do the Dawson City Music Festival. That's like way northwest. And I would also love to do what else? I'd love to just go like way up north to those kind of more remote places and play. But it's nice to have some things to do on your to-do list. We've seen a lot of Canada, but it's a big ass country, so there's right. Always more to see.
Yeah. Have you guys done like cross Canada tours? Like, is that brutal?
Yeah, I mean, it's when we were first getting into those cross Canada tours, people warned us. They're like, that's the band breaker tour. But and the reason why they say that is because it's just if you're going from Ontario to basically trying to get to the prairies, it's just a lot of driving, and especially in the winter. But yeah, we've done that stretch many times. It's not as bad as everyone says. I mean, like, it's if you're only doing Canada, then I guess it's probably not as fun. If you're going like straight across Canada and then coming home, that's kind of pointless to me. Like we'll always do like across to, Alberta or Saskatchewan, and then down into the States and play Minneapolis and Wisconsin, and then kind of drive along the bottom of the top of the States, and then back up to do Calgary, and then Vancouver, and then Vancouver Island, and then go to Seattle and Portland. So like we kind of build it into a greater North American route, but I think the bands that have the most negative feedback about the prairies and touring across Canada are the ones that only do Canada, which is understandable because there's just not that many markets here, at least major markets.
Yeah. So I listened to a couple of of your podcasts that you do. I listened to the one with Laura Jane Grace and the one with your drummer, Kyle Starchild. And you just talking about that, I wanted to ask, this question has popped in my head, like you've done a bunch of different media type stuff or whatever. Do you journal? Have you thought about writing a book?
I do journal. Yeah, I got, I try and write something every day.
Okay.
And doing that for about probably 8 years now.
Yeah.
Since we really started touring. I've been writing. I have a whole shelf of journals and I also kind of put like little things from the trip or whatever. Like if I can find a tidy little physical artifact to store, like here's a piece of Kyle's bass drum skin that he smashed in New York last fall. So That's in there. I kind of write the information on the back. I try and, if it's not intrusive and I can fit it in my book, I try and do that, or Polaroids or whatever, just to kind of flesh things out. I really like writing in a journal. I think it's just like it's something to do when you're sitting in the Motel Continental breakfast and you don't feel like rolling the dice with some boiled eggs.
Some eggs,
you're all jacked up on instant black coffee and there's nothing to do because nobody else has woken up yet. That's all just right. But I think it's a very privileged, incredible way to live life that I get to do. So It'd be a way not to record it.
Yeah.
Or at least document it. It's also very monotonous in parts and stuff, like 8 hours a day in the van sometimes, or 6 hours or 10 hours. But that's the time also that I take to write. My journals are a hilarious mishmash of like songs and like, record, like basically documenting the day. I think the first one that I have, I kind of would do it sporadically, but the first one where I really started documenting every day was when we did the Warp Tour in 2015.
Okay.
I have some other ones that are like 2010 and 2011 and 2012 and 13 and 14, like just little bits and pieces here. But 2015 is when I really started writing everything down and putting, as I said, physical artifacts in the book. And it's funny when I open up the pages and I want to think about the Warp Tour. I have my memories version of the Warp Tour.
Right.
Then I'll open that thing up and it's like, it fleshes it out a little bit, challenges some of the notions that I have in terms of my memory bank of what the Warp Tour was. So
do you have a instance of where the journals challenged your Warp Tour?
I would say that like certain tours that like, not the Warp Tour, but like certain tours that I remember like, oh, that tour sucked and I was having a bad time on that tour. I'll crack it open and there's always some funny stuff that my mind conveniently whitewashed over with the most dominant emotion that I felt on that tour.
Right.
But there's always good stuff. And, there's other tours that appear more glorious in my mind of like, oh, that was a real good one. And we were, everything was good then. And then I'll open it up and I'm like, damn, I forgot about that day. That day sucked. So yeah, it definitely helps to animate my memory a bit more. And memory is a complicated and very inaccurate thing. Memory is just a bizarre thing when you really think about it.
Yeah,
completely inaccurate.
Yeah.
And I think that at least I can kind of triangulate. Like, I can't exactly find the emotions or the feelings that I was feeling at the time, but this helps triangulate it a little bit more and catalog the wild time I've had on the road.
Yeah. So do you go back and like try and edit or make like a condensed version of your journals?
No, I'm pretty lazy, so I just kind of like have
I feel that.
Everything. I think I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have like 15 books at this point. 15 journals full of stuff.
Is the Notes app on your phone pretty wild too?
No, I don't really use that. I try and commit everything physically here. I mean, my voice memo app is ridiculous, ridiculously full of like, all demo songs, or like be walking around like muttering lyrics that just came to me to try in a song. So it's my voice memos read like the Diary of a Madman.
Just scrawling. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Are you
a lot of air? There's a lot of with me trying to talk lyrics into it. So anyways, sorry, what were you saying?
Are you a big like book reader?
I am, but I'm pretty much like exclusively military history book reader.
What's I recently read do you know With the Old Breed?
Yeah, I have that book right there. Yeah.
That's a good one.
E.B. Sledge. It's a good one.
Yeah, man. It's a good one. Wow. What are you reading anything right now?
I'm reading a book right now by this lawyer named Gerald Posner, who is it's called Case Closed. It's about the JFK assassination, and it's about how all the conspiracy theories are bullshit, and that nobody pays attention to the actual character of Oswald. That everyone's always like taking these events and saying, oh, this is evidence of a greater, wider, crazier conspiracy.
Yeah.
And he basically argues that these things are down to human error, and that Oswald had already tried to assassinate a general in Texas at one point, and he was a violent and crazy guy, and that it was totally possible that he did this, and it probably is the simplest explanation, that nobody wants to believe that a loser could basically alter history that much. I mean, Gavrilo Princip did it in 1914 as well, with the assassination of Franz Ferdinand. So,
wow.
But again, anyways, that's my kooky area of reading.
I like it. I'm a history war guy, so I get it. I enjoy it. It's I'm
a big like turn of the century. I used to be like, when I first got into history, I was completely obsessed with the Second World War.
Oh yeah.
But now I've kind of, and I still obviously have like, I've been reading a lot about the Pacific campaign a lot, because it's just an area that we don't really talk about much here in Canada.
Yeah.
But I think my main area of interest is the turn of the century of just kind of and World War One. I think is the main area of my interest, and also like the first, I'd say 10 years of the first 20 years of the nuclear era, and also because the ramifications are still quite relevant now. But I don't know, I find that stuff completely, utterly fascinating.
Yeah. Well, it's like growing up, I was always taught, or it always seemed like, if you're just cool to people, then everybody's cool. Everybody's going to be chill, but everybody's not chill. Come to find out.
Yeah, I also find, that reading about what has happened in the past gives a lot of context for modern life and how prosperous on the whole and lucky we are. And it's
for sure
somewhat of an antidote to my own personal, like, oh, things are so hard. This thing's like,
right.
this is annoying today. And then I'll read about the Battle of Cannae, like with Hannibal versus the Romans. And I'm like, well, I'm really glad I wasn't there. It really adds a little bit of a spring to my step for a little while. So not to say that I'm kind of like, not to say that I find joy in the suffering of the past, but I certainly find context for my own life, which does, through a roundabout way, give me an appreciation for my amazing circumstances.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it's easy for or I don't know. I guess everybody's not into like history, so it's easy for people to kind of like think of, oh, there's just like, the good side and the bad side, even if it's talking about like the U.S. government or whatever, where it's like this side was the good side and this side was the bad side. When it's like, that's kind of true, but there's like so many shades of gray of people trying to like, I don't know, trying to
I couldn't agree more.
Trying to be political and politicize whatever they're trying to do. Yeah. Have y'all played in New Orleans?
Many times, but not enough. I mean, our last gig there, we unfortunately had to cancel, and then the makeup gig we had to cancel as well. So this is 2018 and 2019 respectively. But
that's some bullshit.
Love New Orleans. Got a lot of good friends there. Pears.
Yeah.
Yeah. We go way back with those guys, and the band High.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, Craig and who else is the band? But anyways, those guys are Craig's a really good friend of mine, and we love New Orleans.
New Orleans is a cool place. I was gonna ask if you had been to the World War II museum there.
Hell yeah, I have.
Man, that's wild.
Yeah, that's a good museum.
Yeah.
My dream one day is to go to the. I really want to go to. I've never been to Italy before, but I really want to go to see a bunch of the Roman stuff. I mean that's kind of. I think that like 20th century history is inherently fascinating because we can like it's within living memory. A lot of it. I mean, it's even though that's fleeting now, but it's. We can identify with those people, but I think that, ancient history is like equally as fascinating, but it's a little harder to get that instant gravitation towards because it's like the people are so far gone and the places and the nation states and the ideas are so ancient, right? That it's hard to get into, but I'm a huge hardcore history fan. Do you like hardcore history?
Dan Harlan?
Dan Harlan.
Yeah.
And so Dan, speaking of the Warped Tour, we're on that tour, and I was first just getting into podcasts, and I would just listen to like comedians podcasts, listen to that stuff. And then I met this guy named Mike Kennedy who plays in the band The Wonder Years.
Okay.
And we were doing some push-ups in the parking lot. He's just like, if you were to listen to hardcore history, I was just like, no. And he's just like, dude, there's this one right now on Genghis Khan. You got to listen to it. So I was like, okay. And I listened to hardcore history. And now I have listened to every single episode like multiple times.
Damn.
Best. I look forward to hardcore history more than almost more than new music coming out by bands that I love. It's an obsession level. It's borderline a problem.
Well, yeah, for people that don't know hardcore history, like it's this dude Dan Harlan, and every episode ranges in time from like, I don't know, what's the longest one you've listened to?
Well, I think some of them are like 6 hours.
Yeah, and there's multiple episodes for whatever topic.
And they come out about once a year.
Yeah.
Maybe twice a year. They're really far and few between. So, my favorite band growing up was The Who. We played with The Who. It was amazing to meet Pete Townsend at Top Street. But tweeting with Dan Carlin, him tweeting back at me was the same rush than meeting my fucking guitar hero, Pete Townsend. So I think that says everything about my level of obsession with hardcore history.
Damn, that is hardcore. I guess I don't know if you're listening. You're in the van for hours. You got the time,
and it's an escape, right, from the monotony of like basically watching. When you're driving through, I shall not name them, but more featureless terrain, and you got many hours to go. It's a way of really focusing your mind. I have a hard time reading in the van. I'd say, like it's. I like reading at home.
Yeah.
And I like when I'm sitting down, but I kind of get a little queasy when I'm in the van reading. But
jiggling around and there's sunlight like hitting weird. Yeah.
Yeah. And then people are listening to music. And so I have a hard time focusing on the book. So audiobooks and podcasts are a great kind of remedy for that.
Yeah. Yeah. History is cool.
Certainly is. To me it is.
Yeah. Have you thought of doing a history concept album, and you can do like your own hardcore history?
I try. It's for some reason those two things are like rock and roll and history are like completely compartmentalized in my mind, and it's funny because like I think the reason why I got into history was because my love of rock and roll is such a mythology based love that like my documenting and appreciation of dates and times and events and things was really well cataloged in my mind and lent itself well to military history, basically. Like my knowledge of the chronology of the Replacements or the Rolling Stones or the Beatles or Led Zeppelin or all that stuff, reading all those rock bios really, as I said, gave my mind an appreciation of time, and that as I said, I think was a good stepping stone to getting into world history and political history. But as I said, they're a bit compartmentalized in my mind. Our songs are still about the traditional trials of human life.
It's true. Growing up, was your family always into music and history? Like, is that how you got into it? Both of
My
them?
dad read a lot of history for sure. Like, I remember seeing a lot of history. He was always reading history books, and I would talk to him about that stuff. And he was really into hockey. It still is. And I was kind of into hockey, but history was a way to kind of like connect with him, because I didn't really give a shit about, I wasn't invested in the outcome of a hockey season or a hockey game.
Right.
But I could really light up my eyes talking about, whatever book he was, reading, or whatever historical event. So that was one thing. But in terms of music, my dad listened to a lot of really hacky and really awesome country music.
Okay.
Live at Folsom Prison was one of the cassette tapes that was always on, and a lot of John Prine. I don't think he's made much headway in the States, but Stompin' Tom Connors is kind of like our Hank Williams.
Oh, that's cool.
Up here. Some hacky songs, maybe a like blend of John Prine and Hank Williams, but some pretty hacky tunes, but some really good ones. A lot of stuff like that, like Gordon Lightfoot, a lot of novelty country songs, a lot like, Waylon Jennings, and that was kind of my dad's thing. And then my mom listened to like women in songs, like like that, like Dido and whatever the hell, Sarah McLachlan, whatever was on those compilations was always
from the 90s. Yeah.
And so there was a constant clash between as I said, live at Folsom Prison with all the swearing and out-of-tune guitars, and I will remember you. And I think that my musical mind is a melding of those two things, I'd say.
Yeah, I getting ready for this podcast earlier, I was just looking at y'all Spotify, and I saw you had some playlists on there, and there's one that was like the fuck art inspirations, and it was a pretty eclectic mix of songs.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, I can't quite remember what was on it, but yeah, it's whatever's in there was true.
Yeah, it's so. Yeah, I guess that sort of stuff is always bouncing around your brain when you're writing songs. Just like,
yeah, I mean, I don't really think about anything while I'm trying to get some words and music out of myself, but I just kind of I think the attitude of, like, as I said, some of those hacky novelty country songs, like "You're the Reason Our Kids Are Ugly," or whatever, like that kind, like humor, like, you know, talking about dark shit, but like having a grin with it always is like, I think that's part of my DNA in terms of writing. I really like having some bratty humor to almost everything that we do. Some things are just are a bit more sincere, but those are few and far between, I'd say, in our catalog of music. In my personal lyrical output, but I just I like humor. I like gallows humor. I like cheap humor. You know, I like it in music. I think it's something that gives some levity to heavier topics. Right. So I think I don't consciously try and do that. That's just the stuff that comes out of me.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. You put it like now that you bring up like outlaw country type lyrics, I could see that your own special way of, like, country lyrics.
I think that's the stuff that I've always kind of gravitated towards the most. Like, I mean, like, The Replacements are my probably all-time favorite band, and I just always loved Paul's way with words and his voice, and he's got a lot of you know, smirking in his lyrics, and you know, the same thing with John Prine. You know, John Prine influenced a lot of the way that I thought about music. That was one of the more heavy rotation things at my house when I was a kid. Sweet Revenge in particular, and I just really like that style of lyrics. I think also, like, seeing my dad really like it made me like kind of I made note of that in my mind.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But, like, you know, the melodies and stuff of, like, Cher's "Do You Believe in Love," like, that stuff also ingrained itself.
It hits.
It hits, right? Like, you know, bangers are bangers. It doesn't really matter. I think, like, for a long time in my, like, late teens, early 20s, I tried to kind of repress that stuff and really try to move towards the most aggressive, aggro, you know, part of my tendencies. But the more comfortable I became with, you know, what I actually like, the more unabashed I was and am with my own musical output. And I think everybody goes through a period of time where they're trying to they do things in a way to try and make a small group of people that they know think that they're cool. Yeah. And most people at a certain time say, who fucking cares what these people think? You know, life's really short. I'm going to try and do what I want to do. And I'm just glad that my realization of that came earlier than it could have, you know?
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I guess it's I guess this is growing up, man, you know?
Yeah.
As they say.
As they say, as Blink-182
says. Man, Okay. Yeah. I did. You and James Bowman from Against Me collabed on a pedal.
We did indeed.
Threshold Maximizer.
Indeed. Yes.
Pretty sick. I've been a bassist forever, and in the past year, I'm getting into playing guitar more regularly, and I got the Threshold Maximizer.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's pretty sweet. It's because I'm not a huge I'm a gear guy, but I'm not like, oh, well, this knob is this, whatever. But yeah, it's sick. It's a Rat clone, pretty much. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So I started my friendship with Mr. Bowman, Mr. James Bowman, on when we opened for Against Me in 2017. We did a full U.S. tour, and he was, fellow gear people gravitate towards each other, of course. But he noticed that I was using Rats. We kind of went on we started this long conversation about like, okay, well, what's your favorite Rat? And I have this one behind me that it's an 86 Rat. It was my first one. It kicks ass. And so I sent it to him. He kind of took it apart and measured all the components. And then we said and I said, well, it's just a bit too noisy though. Like, how do we upgrade it? And so we went through a couple different prototypes of, okay, well, can we make the enclosure as bulletproof as possible? Can we upgrade the actual pot values so that we can have more options? Because I like to basically use a Rat as a preamp and just have it on all the time, and then have a second one on top of that to boost it. And he designed he kind of modified this existing circuit to be able to accommodate that function of having it on all the time, having the lowest possible noise, and to have it be as bulletproof as possible.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud of what James designed with my feedback.
That's cool. So
literally and figuratively.
So are you gonna? So I watched there's some rig rundown video of yours out there, and I saw you had the two Rats in line. Are you gonna use two Threshold Maximizers now?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was prior to our collaboration. But,
yeah.
I'm really proud of what James what we did. I think he made a couple hundred of them, and they sold out boom really fast. So I think we'll do more. But I'm a gear guy too, and what I always have to stop myself from doing is going on really long gear scrolling of ooh, this is a cool pedal, and what I have to do is just turn around and be like, I have so much fucking gear, just play the shit I have and try and get actually better at this damn instrument.
Right.
But yeah, I fucking love gear for sure.
Have you ever thought about just indulging yourself and having the Edge type of pedal board that is humongous? And
no, I haven't, because I'm a very simple guitar player in terms of my setup. And in the past, when I was a teenager and I had a slightly more elaborate board, my shit never really worked, and it would always die during a show. And so my mind is just completely oriented towards utility rather than momentary function. I don't really fuck with delays or tremolos or modulation or anything like that. Sometimes in the studio, it'll be oh, let's add a little color to this part. Do you guys have anything at this studio that we could try? And if they don't, it's who cares? We'll just plug the guitar in, make it really loud, do what I usually do. But my basic thing is that I like having to be able to only hit one pedal
right. Yeah.
during the show. And so I'm actually having my board rebuilt right now, and the gentleman who's helping me was asking me, he's do you want to add some more mods? I was just no. He's just even for and I'm no, I don't, I just don't need it, don't want it. even like a reverb, like it's like it's just another thing to go wrong. It's another thing that I have to carry through the airport with my pedalboard. Like, let's just keep it as lean and mean as possible. I will say the only thing I added was a noise suppressor, which works really well, which I'm happy. Just allows me to kind of turn things up even louder without it going crazy on me. And when you're using two rats, things can get a little crazy. But sometimes that's what I want. Sometimes I want a white noise screeching sound. But sometimes you also want it when you're playing a little quieter, and dynamics are really important to be able to have pin drop silence. So that's kind of the only thing I've really indulged myself in, and I probably wouldn't have even done it if we weren't at home. And I got bored, and I was like, I'll check out a noise suppressor, but I found a really good one. They make really, really solid ones now. I mean, the other ones that I tried before, like they're trying to guess what is your guitar signal and what is extraneous noise, and sometimes they don't work that well. Yeah. But with new ones, they have like an input from your guitar, so it can tell what your guitar is doing and what not to clamp down on. So I was like, yo, that's great. So as I said, I only got it so that I could play my amp even louder.
You've got a pretty sweet, I've never seen a 8x10 Marshall cab, guitar cab.
Yeah. From 1973. It's pretty sick. I love it. It's pretty harsh sounding, but that's what I love about it. Like I used to use like a 412 cab. I loved it. Sounds great. But I think that the tone of the 8x10 is really fucking sick, especially if you're using a Gibson. It just kind of really brings out the top end in it. And it's also got a good amount of like a really, really good mid sound. And because it's an enclosed cab, it's got a nice tight bass response. But I think it has a real grind to it that I really like. It's great for recording too.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely looks and sounds cool.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I haven't really, other than adding this noise suppressor, I haven't changed my rig in like substantially in like 10 years now. I'd say.
Well, you know what you like. It's working, you know? Well,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's right. Yeah. You know, if you just pulled out like a 12-string guitar, or I don't know, it'd be weird.
Mm-hmm. Like, that's kind of my attitude towards effects too. Is like, it's fun. Like, you can do some cool stuff in the studio, but like, is it really gonna make the difference live that it's like that makes the headaches that it's gonna cause worth it?
Yeah.
And for me, the answer is no. But because my job when I'm on stage, first and foremost, is to be the front man and interface with the crowd and make sure the energy level, do everything in my power to try and make sure everyone in that room has a good time, including us. And the more focus that I have to dedicate towards trying to hit a 1/4 inch button, more kind of takes away from that. So I don't really have to think about playing guitar when we're playing live. And I'm really just thinking about having a good time up there.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. Are you a fan of Chicks Dig It at all?
You know, I must say that I've heard the name and many people have told me to check it out, but I have to admit that I have yet to do so. That's
good. Well, just watching, like, I've seen them live a couple of times, and just watching live videos of y'all, I think there's a comparison to be made between you and the singer KJ of Chicks Dig It. Very like, because I don't know, you know, you're human, but I've never seen a video of you like, oh, this crowd sucks or whatever, you know. And it's the same with him, where it's like, you know, I've never seen him be like shitty to a crowd when, you know, I'm sure you've seen bands be shitty to a crowd.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's funny because I love watching those kinds of train wrecks.
Well, yeah, of course.
I've never wanted to be a part of one. I mean, there's I don't know if there's a German word called Schadenfreude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, pleasure in the misfortune of others.
Yeah.
And I definitely have Schadenfreude when I see it's like watching a comedian bomb or something. You know, I really do think that like it's like my dad would say about hockey. It's never the goalie's fault.
Yeah.
I would say that the same about the crowd. Like your job when you get up there is to entertain, and you've got to try and cultivate a large tool belt of techniques to entertain. And even when the crowd's being stiff or whatever, just go harder and try more things. You know? But unless people are like hurting each other or anything, if they're just kind of doing whatever, then you got to just work harder at your job. That's how I see it. That could be a flawed way of looking at it. Maybe some crowds inherently suck. I don't know. But when we have a crowd that's low energy, like we just have a chat about, okay, well, let's try this one, something different next time.
Yeah. Are you a fan of Norm Macdonald?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I just read his autobiography recently. And it got me to watching all these videos, and I saw one comedian talking about him after he had passed away, and he was saying how like if he killed a show, he didn't want to like meet the crowd afterwards, but if he bombed, he wanted to like stand out by the door and like shake people's hands to like look at them again and make them like uncomfortable again as much as possible. Yeah.
To double down. Yeah.
Oh.
That's funny as hell.
Yeah. It's great.
R.I.P. Norm.
I know. Shout out. Yeah. His if people are into him, definitely check out his book. It's silly. It's wild.
What's it called?
It's called Based on a True Story.
Okay.
But as soon as you start reading it, you figure out it's not a true story. But
okay,
it's pretty great. That's not a spoiler or anything. But yeah. Okay, man. Well, yeah, we've gone for a little while here.
Hell yeah.
I've enjoyed speaking with you, Luke.
Yeah.
Do you have any closing remarks or anything?
I would just say thank you very much for the chat, and you know, we're as I said, I feel incredibly privileged to get to do this job, and so you know, if there's anybody out there that's a fan, thank you for supporting us. And if you're not a fan, you know, check it out, see if you like it. If you don't, that's cool. It just know that you're wrong.
There you go.
But yeah, I would just say that it's a wonderful world. Hail, hail, rock and roll.
That's right. All right. Well, Luke, stay on for a minute. You had options, but you decided to talk to me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.